Okay, the next video we'll look at example 2 from section 5.2, and here we have several histograms given, and we're asked to compare them. The histograms show the magnitude of earthquakes measured on the Richter scale, and these are earthquakes which happened in Canada from 2005 up to 2009. Before we get into looking at the histograms, let's look at what the Richter scale is. And the Richter scale is a scale used to measure the intensity or magnitude of an earthquake. Less than 3, recorded by seismographs, not felt. 3 to 3.9 feels like a moving truck, no damage. But from 4 to 4.9, these earthquakes are felt by nearly everyone. A movement on unstable objects. 5 to 5.9, they're felt by all, and they damage weak buildings. 6 to 6.9, difficult to stand, and you can get collapse of ordinary buildings. 7 to 7.9, loss of life, and more than 7.9, widespread loss of life and destruction. Now, we're not going to consider these here, and the reason being that there is no damage caused. So when we look back up to our histograms, we can remove some of the data or ignore some of the data that really isn't important to us. So if we look at these here, we're not going to consider them. Those, these, here, and here. And the reason being, some data can be misleading. For example, if you look at 2007, you see there's a large number of earthquakes, 16, from 2 to 2.3. And that may cause you to think that maybe 2007 was the worst year or had the most damage caused. And what we need to remember, and we go back to our question asked of us, which of these years could have had the most damage from earthquakes? So we're not going to consider anything from 0 up to 3 on the Richter scale because damage isn't caused. Now, when we look at the remaining histograms left, we see that maybe 2005 could be a damaging year, or the most destructive year, because we have 20 earthquakes from 3 up to 4. And we look at 2006, we have 14 earthquakes, 2007, 12, 14 here, and 11 here. But we also have to consider the earthquakes from 4 and above. And what might be useful for us to do is let's construct a graph or a table showing the number of earthquakes that happen for each of those years. So if we looked at, say, 2005, six, 7, 8, and up to 2009, and we were, again, just a very rough table. And those from 3 to 3.4, 4 to 5, 5 to 6, and then 6 to 7. Okay, complete a rough table, and in each year it shows the number of earthquakes within each range on the Richter scale. If we look up here at 2008, we said by far it's probably the most damaging year. There were 34 earthquakes. And not only that, but there were earthquakes in this category from 5 to 6 and 6 to 7. So histogram itself shows sometimes too much information, and may need to narrow it down depending on the question given to you. So summarizing it in a table can help do that for you and remove some of the confusing data. Now, another option available to you is to construct a frequency polygon. Now remember, the frequency polygon, with the bins, you plot in the middle. So you wouldn't plot at 2 or 3, you plot at 2.5. And this solution here shows the number of earthquakes on the Richter scale for the years 2008 and 2009. So if I just look at the 2009 year, for in the Richter scale between 3 to 3.9, there were 14 earthquakes. So again, all that data came from above in the previous table. And what you can see from this one is that it shows visually what we have found in our table, that 2008 was the most damaging year. So if we just take a look down through, again, we see between 4 to 4.9, there were 16. Then there were 5 earthquakes between 5 and 5.9. Between 6 and 6.9, there were 4. And then none of them had earthquakes between 7 and 7.9. This was by far the most damaging year.